Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. James Rule, XRP. I have a fantastic team set up for you today in this interview, and I'm really excited to introduce the team at BankSocial. BankSocial's mission is to bridge traditional finance, crypto innovation, and community protection. And I want to say welcome to the show, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for having us, James.
You bet.
Thank you.
Hey, you bet, man. I tell you what, I haven't done that many interviews lately, but like I told y'all, we do it one and done. We go through the major topics, we have fun. So tell me about BankSocial. First of all, I want you guys to kind of give me a brief introduction of where you came from, what your background is, and how all of you guys got together at BankSocial. Let's start with John. John, you and I have been in connection with each other for about a year, and we finally get to meet up.
Well, no, James, I don't know if you remember, but back in 21 at the TBC in Austin, you and I met up downstairs, and so we've kind of been on and off since then. But yeah, we've gotten a lot more comms over the last year for sure. But yeah, my background is in software development. Did a lot of point of sale, omni-channel commerce, warehouse. So we used to build white label Amazon for a bunch of big retailers around the world. So tons of experience with building scalable systems in the payment space. Got a really great team. Came up with the idea for BankSocial back in 2020.
Wow.
Started kind of formulating around how it could be done. One of the first to ever launch a DAO and a DAO token and do actual real lending. We went through every hiccup and every talked to every regulator you could, got every deep dive from every regulator you could early on. And once I launched, met Anthony very early on. Anthony was actually we met up a couple weeks actually before the official launch date, and Anthony was a part of the community. He came on about 6-8 months after in an official capacity at BankSocial once we actually created a company around it. But yeah, it's been a really exciting. We've got the DAO, we've got the token. Right around 2022. We were looking at the next evolution. After we created the DAO, did the first DAO-based lending protocol that actually got loan real funds against real world assets. We did that. Staking payouts are happening where people are getting. It's not these tokenomics where more tokens are printed and fake money's printed, and then by staking you get more. It's actually driven by a real economic engine, and we started looking at where that could live in a more regulatable state and how we could bring this to a larger audience. And that's where we came across cooperative finance, member-owned banks, i.e. credit unions. And it really hit home because it was the perfect combination of what DeFi was trying to do and what regulated finance was trying to do, and how we could take an industry that had been pretty much left behind by major technological advances for the last 25, 30 years and help them embrace truly what they are and have a community. All these DeFi communities, all these protocols, they're really just trying to be cooperative financial institutions, right? They've got a community. It's a digital community. They built an economic engine around it. And that's why we think there's a perfect mashup of what we call analog DeFi, digital DeFi in the form of cooperative finance. And we've been fortunate enough. We've now got 40 live credit unions, and I don't mean in a pilot state or thinking about it or sign some agreement of they'll use it in the future. No, we have 40 active financial institutions using our platform day to day, their customers, their members, their back office teams. They pay us for these softwares. This is not, we've got 35, 45 more that are doing pilots with us. Nice. For international liquidity and all these kinds of things. And we'll go in a little bit deeper to that, but I'll stop there. I'll let Justin and Anthony talk a little.
You want me to go next, Anthony? All right. Yeah, so, gotcha. So came from the law enforcement world. Just retired from the U.S. Secret Service after 25 years this May. my last 8 years with Secret Service, I ran our financial crimes task force out of Connecticut. So I spent the last 8 years looking at financial crimes and, trying to help as many victims as possible. And what I noticed, trending through my career with the Secret Service, when I started off back in 2000, it was, counterfeit checks, counterfeit currency, and then it transitioned into credit card fraud and fiat fraud, bank fraud, things like that. And then towards the end of my career, everything was moving over to cryptocurrency fraud. I mean, it seems to be like the majority of our cases seem to be trending in that direction. So maybe back in 2017, I was also an adjunct professor at the University of New Haven, and I was teaching a few graduate courses on criminal investigations. And my supervisor there asked me if I wanted to teach a little bit on cryptocurrency. So I had an interest in it. So I started really digging around with it, and then built a couple courses on blockchain technology and investigations and cryptocurrency, courses for the grad school there at the University of New Haven. And then I also was able to have the opportunity to teach the International Law Enforcement Association over in Budapest, Hungary for a week, teaching other law enforcement agencies from around the world about cryptocurrency. Back then, Bitcoin, 2017, Bitcoin was like the big talk. So I think they were like $500 a token, $600 for one Bitcoin back then. So, most of the law enforcement folks in the room were thinking it was a scam and this and that. And I was trying to convince them, no, this is actually blockchain technology. Take a look at it. So between that and I've been a member at BankSocial, or a community member since the first launch of the token. I was a day one buyer token and a community member throughout these years, and also became a victim of fraud myself. Maybe 4 months ago, had a compromise and lost a lot of my BankSocial tokens and my HBAR tokens. And dealing with Anthony right away, I let the guys know on the BankSocial platform, like, hey, I was just compromised. And I remember it was a weekend, and Anthony reached out to me immediately. He started tracing my funds. John called me later that night, trying to help me through this. And between Anthony and the task force members and law enforcement agencies, they were able to, find out where those tokens went. They were able to freeze them. The law enforcement community was able to retrieve those into a law enforcement controlled wallet where they sit now. And I have the opportunity to petition for those tokens, make sure, prove that I'm the rightful owner of these funds. And hopefully within, a few months, I'll be able to retrieve some of the funds that were stolen from me back. So after I retired, Anthony's like, why don't you come work for us? I was like, I'd love to work for you guys. Like, I love the company. I love the vision. I've been here for 4.5 years with you guys in the background, in the shadows. So yeah, I'd love to move on to my next career with you guys. So that's how I came where I'm at.
That's awesome, man. And hats off to you. I mean, you've educated a lot, you've experienced it yourself, and you guys have all came together to do better for the world and do better for the community. So Anthony, it's your turn, man. Tell us about you.
Yeah, not as in depth of a history of these two, but I had a direct sales and background building teams around direct sales in my early entrepreneurship days, and then fast forward to 2021, about 3 weeks before the BSL token launched, I was part of that meme coin craze that we saw back in 2021, where meme coins were going crazy. That's originally how I met John, through one of the community engagements that he was talking on one of those calls with like 1,000 people on it. And we got connected through there. And early on, I just thought that the vision he was explaining to me was something that I wanted to be a part of. So early days with the community, day one with the BSL token, and really just focused on building the community, being kind of an ambassador for the community. And then, as John mentioned, shortly after, made it more official. And then, from there, ended up recruiting one of our team members that is still with us today, and really just took on the BankSocial vision and building the team around what we've been able to do so far today. And I guess the recovery aspect, we've kind of always been in that space not focused on it, but early on, John had actually built in to our ETH smart contract. BSL token was on the Ethereum chain. He built in a mechanism to actually retrieve tokens that were scammed from people. So as long as those tokens hadn't been sold off yet, he was able to recover those funds. So we were kind of already recovering crypto for people as long as it was the BSL token. And then that transpired to last year. We had an individual come to us from a totally different wallet that was scammed multi-millions of dollars. And through our efforts, we were able to freeze millions of dollars of those funds, and we're still in the process of recovering those funds for him. So that was really where Secure Recovery was born. I guess my history around recovery, or I guess this side of things, is my grandfather was former homicide detective for LAPD. So helping people is in my blood. It's in my nature. It's something that I've always been called to do. So just grateful to be a part of what we've been able to accomplish so far, and bringing Justin on board, who's so passionate about what he does and helping people. I mean, he lives and breathes this stuff. So what we're doing is really exciting, and looking forward to spreading this out to the masses.
And if you haven't seen the video of him doing a roundhouse, he has a mean roundhouse too.
That I do.
Guys,
do it in the office all the time.
Man, yeah, y'all are doing a great thing. Now let's kind of dive into the DAO. Tell me about this DAO you were talking about.
Yeah, so back in 2022, we launched the first official, or sorry, this was in 2021. We launched the BSL DAO out of Wyoming, and it became the first official DAO to do an asset-backed loan, a real-life loan that put capital out into the market, and then based on the payment back of that, distributes the interest back to the community. So there's some tokenomics behind that. A lot of people get confused around how it works, but essentially there's a mechanism during each buy and sell of the token that takes off a small percentage, puts it into a community controlled, a DAO controlled, community controlled lending pool, and then those funds are then deployed via the DAO and the voting. So we've got governance site where all the votes are tracked on chain. We've got a voting site where all the actual proposals are put up, and you take your tokens and you vote against it. And then based on those votes, there's multi-sig wallets that can deploy that capital into an actual loan at a closing. And so we've actually done this already. And we're, I think the first and maybe still one of the only to have an actual marriage of traditional DeFi and new DeFi, of course, through the mechanisms we're talking about. And the DAO has really become the cornerstone of the community and of everything that we're about, because this idea of a new type of financial model where people can come together, it really was started by credit unions, because that's what happened, right? People, just like you were talking about, you work somewhere, you're talking to all your friends about XRP and all these other things. Well, that's how these initial credit unions started, was just like this. And if you look at it, it's very similar, right? You start talking about a financial economic thing. Hey, I need a loan. Hey, I need to make money. Hey, I want to invest. Hey, I want to do this. And then credit union was created. Well, we really think that, because look at what's happening right now, James. We're having a conversation about a token that's not really controlled by anybody, right? We can wrap a community around it, and we can all financially benefit from our trade of value, trade of information. And this is really what we think. That's what I call cooperative capitalism. I think we're moving into a transitionary phase where the world is going to move to a cooperative capitalistic model, because for everything that capitalism doesn't do well, it does a lot of things well too. It incentivizes, it creates wealth, it does so many great things that, we're transitioning from kind of the crony capitalist, the centralized crony capitalistic model, to a cooperative capitalistic model. It really began with Bitcoin, and it's evolved into things like XRP, so many other coins that are out there that are doing a great job. We think the Hedera ecosystem is great. We just did our first cross-chain international liquidity transfer. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but the DAO was really brought together as an experiment, and it's now turned into a bona fide working. And I could tell you about all our run-ins with the 3 and 4 letter agencies and but it turned out to be really great because they took a look at what we were doing and it turned into a model that has since become a foundational representation. I mean, we've had, I can't tell you about some of the meetings that we have, but just as an example, we had Brian Stile. Anthony was here for that. Brian Stile, Congressman Brian Stile, came into the BankSocial offices and we had a roundtable where we talked about the Genius, before the Genius Act was passed, several years back with the McHenry Waters bill, which was kind of the initial framework for how all this has evolved. We were talking with Tim Scott. I was talking with him back as far as 2 years ago in the House, the Financial Services Committee. So it really set a precedent. The DAO really set a precedent for how we could structure a new financial paradigm in a compliant and a regulatorily adherent way. Because I think the last thing we want less regulations, we want less government, but I think we still want governance. Mm-hmm. And I think inherently as humans, we still want to be working in a space and working with each other in a way that good actors, and this is what we're here to talk about, right? Like the difference between good actors and bad actors and how we stay safe from the good actors and how we stay safe or stay with the good actors and stay safe from the bad actors. And it's not just technology. It's not just tools. It's also governance. It's also mechanisms. It's why we are so excited to have Justin here as well, because he's got that regulatory side. He's got that law enforcement side, and it all has to come together in a new way to provide access to new financial tools while reducing middlemen, while increasing trust, while increasing transparency. And that's what we're all about. So that's a long-winded version of what the DAO is and what we're trying to do. But really the DAO has been the stake in the ground and the genesis of everything that followed and continues to grow at a really great clip. And we're really excited about the growth in the DAO.
Well, I'm excited for you. Yeah, I've seen a lot of I've heard a lot of information about DAOs, and there's new XRPL, different companies that are starting to create DAOs and audience participation. Wow. I mean, how many participants do you have in this DAO? Do you have a rough guesstimate, a rough number?
I think there's roughly 15,000 token holders in the DAO. It's pretty, Anthony, I think it's that high, right?
Yeah, between everything, yeah. As far as wall holders go, it sounds right.
Yep, it's got that. We've got the staking mechanism. I think over 30% of the token supply is staked at this point. So a really high staked supply as well. And so it's a substantial ecosystem. And it's a great ecosystem. We used to do, and we're going to start to do it again. We should probably have you up to one of them, James, and we can talk about some cool stuff. But we used to do daily. Back when Anthony and I met, we were doing daily. He mentioned 1,000 people on these daily calls. That's a true thing. We used to have like 1,000 people show up. So we're going to start getting back into that because we started with transparency, and then as we started building and started growing, we kind of set that off to the side. But we've got to get back to it because it's such a cornerstone of what this new economy is about. And so, the BankSocial sessions that we're starting to do on Thursday, I think we had like 400 or 500 people on the last one live. And we're going to start doing those again to increase that transparency back to the community and back to where our roots are, which is building this for the people, because that's really what it's about. That's what a credit union is. The credit union, the difference between, a lot of people don't know this, the difference between a credit union and a bank is that the credit union is owned by the people who put the money in the credit union, so the depositors, right? And I think you're at a credit union, aren't you, James?
Yeah, we have one to sell. I need to give you their name when we get finished with this interview, because there's they have at least a dozen branches in my area, and they're awesome. I mean, I've gone to since 1991. I've gotten all my home loans, all my vehicle loans. They're flawless.
And the reason why is because there's no displacement of who the fiduciary is, right? In a traditional corporate model, the fiduciary is the shareholder, not the customer. Mm-hmm. And so you have to do what the shareholder wants, which is maximize profit, and I'm not saying that profit is a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But when you can marry the shareholder as the fiduciary and as the customer, which is what a credit union does, which is what a DAO does, which is what these new economic systems aim to provide, you get a whole different dynamic. You get one where there's shared outcomes, there's shared value, there's cooperative value, there are cooperative principles that are involved. And we're starting to see this. I mean, look at why we're together here today. It's because of that, right? It's because of this cooperative principle of I want you to do good, you want me to do good. And these new economic, if we have to use, I'm not going to name banks and names, I'm sure we could find 100 of them, but if we have to use a third party intermediary who's got a different shareholder that is expecting different types of value, that kind of disrupts our ability to work with each other and provide for each other. And I think that's the biggest exciting thing about these new financial ecosystems is that capability, that capacity, and that it really lives in the name BankSocial. That's why when I came up with the name, that is the name that stuck. Which, by the way, what's really cool about that name is, that's a name that we're legally allowed to use. We have a no action letter from the state of Texas to help credit unions and banks deploy socially viable new models of economic finance into the world. So we're really excited about that.
I'm excited for y'all. Now, do y'all look at possibly, once this thing really pops, and I mean, are you looking at credit unions outside of Texas?
Oh, we're already so the credit unions that we have are all over the country. They're not just in Texas.
Really?
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we've got credit unions, we've got financial institutions. It's not just credit unions. We find that a lot of community banks act like a cooperative financial model. And so it's all over the world at this point. Not a lot in APAC, but Africa, Latin America, Canada, United States, Europe. We've got institutions all across. And like I said, we have 40 that are active, not pilot customers, not people who've signed filled out an online form. I know a lot of people like to brag about people who've filled out online forms. These are 40 active paying, using our products every day. Our products are touching members' hands every day, making a difference. You shared it last week, our XRP that we launched when we launched our embedded wallet into Credit Union of Texas. We have our wallet is in several other credit unions.
I had to share XRP. I'm going to share it. I mean, no, I'm going to share it. Yeah.
And what happened is immediately we started seeing people who were utilizing other exchanges where they had to move their money to the exchange, sell it, make a transfer, wait an hour. The whole process takes an hour and costs 3x what ours does. And what we're seeing is people are just putting their XRP when they want to sell it, when they want to move it, when they want to buy some and move it to a cold wallet or whatever. It's just one hop directly from your bank account. I mean, why should it be any other way? It's
come down to Southeast Texas. You need to get in my credit union now.
We will. we're going to. I promise you that. I mean, we're already in 40, and we've got another 35, 40 that have signed up for a pilot for our liquidity. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I think we've already done that, but let's keep moving on.
Well, what do we have next? Okay, let's get into the security part, the secure recovery. Anthony, are you the ace on that one?
We all kind of are. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, so we can all discuss that. John, I mean, how did it come to be?
Yeah, so let's just talk about that really quickly, and then I'll turn it over to Justin and Anthony, and Anthony, and those guys can really tell you about the day-to-day and how it works. But Anthony's right. I was the first to put in a recovery feature into a token. When I was building the first smart contract as a developer, I was like, why can't I just program in a recovery mechanism that if somebody, and we actually made it kind of sophisticated so that it could track and monitor the number of tokens being sold. And there's a lot of different mechanism we built into the first smart contract. But as we can, I think, Anthony, out the gate, we were able to recover millions of dollars of stolen tokens for people, just of our BSL tokens. Because you know how it is, James, you're in this. You see it daily. How many people are getting scammed out of their XRP, out of their different.
I mean, that's why I talk about scams in just about every video, because, and I didn't mean to cut you off, as this world of crypto starts to pop like it's doing right now, you're going to have more newbies. You're going to have so many people that you talked about crypto years ago that are they're going to swarm into Coinbase, swarm into Uphold or Binance or wherever to get as many cryptos as they can now. And when they see an opportunity from somebody giving away free crypto, they're going to FOMO, they're going to have the fear of missing out, and they're going to fall for these damn scams. And like I said, it's getting to the point where the scammers are getting so good at what they do, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. Because I get emails all the time, and I have to double check the sender. I have a double check. I don't click on the links. I don't, scan any QR codes, which I recommend to everybody. But yeah, it's getting pretty bad.
And so as we were evolving, we started seeing just more and more people trusting us, understanding that we were kind of domain experts. And then as we started doing more of these recovery cases, we really understood that these guys who were posing as, a lot of the people posing to be recovery specialists and things like that, they didn't have the experience to get on chain and do the type of forensics required. We were talking before we got on here about the sophistication we have with being able to monitor nodes and monitor clusters and real time being able, after a scams happen, when dormant wallets go dormant, and we can monitor those and move quickly on it and reach out. And we've got a whole sophisticated mechanism to do it. But we started understanding and realizing that, there weren't too many people in the world that were as knowledgeable on not just the on-chain stuff, but I can't tell you how many cases we've run across, and Justin and Anthony can talk more to this, but where you just follow the wrong process, you contact the wrong person. Like we had one case where they talked to the Department of Homeland Security, and then they were in a jurisdictional battle where the Department of Homeland Security is fighting against the FBI and fighting against the Secret Service, for jurisdiction. And in that 24-hour, 48-hour period, that's the critical part of the experience. So, it really started from working to protect our own BankSocial token holder DAO and evolved to protecting the entire crypto ecosystem. And I think at this point, we've worked on hundreds of cases. We've recovered millions and millions of dollars. We've frozen probably 5-10x that. We continue to grow our capabilities and our sophistication. So with that, I'll kind of pause there. That's the stage, and I'll pass it over to Anthony and Justin to color in and what we do with our secure recovery platform.
Hey, real quick. So once you freeze an account, or once, it's identified on the centralized exchange, what kind of time frame are you looking at actually recovering these funds for the customer?
So we had one that happened within just a few weeks, and they returned it directly to the customer. It's all different. Justin, Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go briefly, but then I definitely want you to talk on it, Justin. So there's no one way fits all with these recovery cases. I mean, Justin, for example, happened multiple months ago, and he's still having to petition for his funds. The one John was just referring to was a completely different case where the exchange, we didn't even need law enforcement. The exchange actually just had the user, the victim, prove they were who they say they were, and they sent the funds right back to them. And that was only like a 2-month process. We had another individual get funds back within a month. So there's no one size fits all. They're all very unique, and they all have very different timeline depending on what's going on, what exchange has it. Some exchanges are more eager to help, and other exchanges out there, a lot of the overseas ones are kind of hesitant to even respond. So it really just depends. We take every case on a case by case basis, but I want Justin to speak on this because he's the true expert here.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. It kind of all depends on the mechanism we use to freeze those funds. So there's several mechanisms that we do use. Our first approach is using what we call, we developed, Anthony and I, our own BankSocial freeze letter on letterhead from the company. And we'll find that right now that's not working 100% of the time, but as time changes and things turn more better for the crypto world and community, I think that's going to start to work more and more. But so we have that mechanism where we just send the freeze letter out, and then the exchange cooperates with us and freezes those funds sometimes they go, like John was saying, directly back to the victim, which is very helpful because it's as quick as possible you can do right there. Our next option is, if that doesn't work, we have 3 other options. We can do a civil using an attorney trying to get those funds back. We can do state law enforcement or federal law enforcement. And depending on, state law enforcement uses typically in most states a search and seizure warrant. So they have to, not only they have to send either a subpoena or their own letterhead to freeze those funds, but then they have to actually submit a search and seizure warrant to seize those tokens. Now, if the tokens are, if it's say XRP is stolen and then converted over to USDT or converted over to any other crypto, that takes most of the state law enforcement out of the equation, because they have to actually, using a search and seizure warrant, they have to actually seize the actual funds that were sent. Not they, once it's been converted, that's out of the equation. So then we have to go to a federal agency, either the FBI or Secret Service, to try and seize those funds. The good thing with federal law enforcement is they have the money laundering statute. So if a bad guy is or girl is using an account overseas to funnel funds through, and the victim that we're dealing with, funds have gone through that account and are gone, but more funds travel into that account, the federal agencies can seize that entire account, forfeit it, and then these victims can petition. Even if it's not their funds, they can petition for their funds back, and that's helpful as well. Now, that also goes, how long do these take? Like, if the quickest way, our freeze letter sends it right back to the victim, a couple weeks. Then we get into, civil, the civil letterhead or litigation that could take a long time. The next is state, state police. Actually, the search and seizure warrants are quicker than the feds, because the feds, they have 3 options when they forfeit funds. They can do administrative seizures, they can do civil judicial seizures, or they can do criminal seizures. Depending on which one of those they do, that could take a different period of time as well. The criminal ones will take the longest because you have to go through the whole criminal trial, indict them, and all that stuff. So there's different ways and mechanisms. So it's kind of what we do. I will say that law enforcement, as we have, me being in law enforcement for the last 25 years until recently, and now seeing as we call other agencies, whether they're state police, local detectives, or federal agencies, are kind of being overrun with this type of crime. So there's only, we find, a small percentage of law enforcement officers that are actually trained in crypto investigations. And to actually get one of those investigators to help can be difficult, because they're also stretched very thin as well. And the number of cases is being, compounded over these last few months. And we're going to see that to continue to compound. So I think law enforcement is a little bit behind the 8 ball when it comes to training up their folks to be able to respond to this. And then obviously you have jurisdictional issues. You have victims here in the United States, but suspects overseas. A lot of local detectives, they don't know what to do with that. And, then it just takes a long time. So we're a little bit behind the 8 ball there as well.
And that's the reason why we invent, like, this is as Justin just described, this is a super complex process for somebody to navigate by themselves. And so that's why we invented secure recovery, because the whole idea is you shouldn't have to become an expert. You shouldn't have to figure out what to do in the worst case scenario. We made it super low cost. It's like $7-8 a month, and it works almost like a LifeLock type of scenario, where with just that protection, who to call, who to engage with, and you can make that one call. Because the most important thing in this whole equation, and we talked about this before, James, is speed.
Yes.
You don't have to be afraid. We do not bite, right? We are here to help. So speed, and knowing that you just need to make a call. You don't have to figure it all out. We take you through a very easy, simple process to get that information to us. And then we can help navigate all the complexities of why, what, where, when, who needs to be engaged, why, how, because I can't tell you how many cases that early on we came across where people were going to the wrong places, or following up with the wrong people, and they waited a week because they thought their local PD was going to do something. But in reality, the best first action was for us, for you to engage with somebody like us. We deliver to an exchange, and our likelihood of getting a freeze request, at least for a period of time while some additional diligence is done, is much higher than you go into your police not knowing. All that still needs to be done, but there's an order of operation. And that's why we invented Secure Recovery, and the Secure platform is so that people knew where to go. They didn't have to be afraid. They knew that there was a team of trusted individuals that were working and ready to take on the case and to make those initial first few steps so that you didn't make any missteps or delay the critical moments that tick off there within the first 24 to 48 hours.
I mean, so many people were so embarrassed. I've chatted with people that were scammed 2 years ago, and they send me a message, "Hey, is it too late?" I'm like, "Well, 2 years, that's a pretty big window to investigate." But they'll get robbed of their XRP or Bitcoin or Ethereum, and they're just too embarrassed to go to anybody with it. They're like, "Well, they're going to laugh at me." I'm like, "No, you need to shout it out. You need to holler at somebody." And with what you guys are doing, I think it's just incredible that, an individual has the opportunity to call you guys. "Hey, look, this just happened. Can you help me? What can you do?"
We've made it as easy as a button in the app, James. Like, you push a button in the app and we trigger everything immediately.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So within
sometimes
the app.
And sometimes it's not too late. It can be 2 years, 3 years old, because a lot of times what happens is these addresses that the bad guys are using are getting blacklisted. So they're sitting there, and then, if money goes into some of these and they stop using them, they might know law enforcement's onto them, or they change up addresses, they forget about that one. Some of these criminals are
like last week. Wasn't there a forfeiture here? And sometimes the government is working on cases for 2, 3, 4 years, and then the government forfeiture happens, and then there's an opportunity to recover out of that government forfeiture. We're working on a few cases like that as well. So it's never, to Justin's point, never too late to get involved. If you've been scammed, the amount of dollars it costs to get the additional protection in the future, because the likelihood that you're going to stay in crypto is high, right? So you get the access to us to go after and look at everything, to put you on lists, to get those clusters monitored. And you also get the future benefit of being able to have who to call if it ever happens again in the worst case. I mean, hopefully it won't, but you never know. I mean, people are getting scammed all day. It's just a thing. And yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. I mean, since I've had my socials for the past 5 years, I guarantee you, I've had thousands of people contact me. "James, I got scammed," or "James, I did something wrong," or "James, who do I need to call?" And blah, blah, blah. XRP Forensics used to do a lot on the XRP ledger, and, they're no more. XRP Forensics or whatever. So, and they did recover a lot. But I think it's really a blessing what you guys are doing, giving the community that extra insurance, not to have to worry about, hey, if something does happen, they can get right on it. I mean, nothing's ever promised. I mean, you're not promised to get all your crypto back. I mean, somebody can cash it out in 5 minutes. And now most of the exchanges are KYC though, right? I mean, the centralized exchanges, so when it goes to a wallet to liquidate, I mean, don't they pretty much know who that individual is that cashed the crypto?
A lot of the that's why Justin was saying that a lot of the not a lot of them, but some of the countries and some of the places don't have as sophisticated laws around KYC. Like the Department of Justice just indicted last year the heads of KuCoin because they weren't adhering to AML, BSA, just the most basic of stuff. Look, I'm all for sovereignty, but I'm also for staying safe. Yeah. And sovereignty and anonymity are sometimes they're used as a mechanism to say, well, I need to be completely anonymous and nobody needs to know what I'm doing. And that's great. I agree with that. I think, knowing who's got what is not something that we can do. But in the ultimate worst case, we also need to be able to hone in on individuals. And we'll start to see a lot of these VASPs are starting, these companies that are doing crypto and stuff like that, the countries are starting to become more sophisticated. The exchanges themselves, I think a lot of times they're not bad people, and they just grew so fast, and their processes couldn't keep up, and it's hard to stop growing to go back and clean up processes. And that's mostly what we see. I don't think we see a lot of bad actors knowingly facilitating. It happens, but that's starting to get, as Justin says, we've seen just so much progress. I think Trump and what the government here is doing is providing so much legitimacy to crypto and the future of crypto. We're going to see a big turn here in the next 6 to 12 months is what kind of we're projecting here at BankSocial.
Well, good deal. So credit union members, the apps, your services are integrated into the apps with the credit unions, right?
Yeah. So just the other day, so a lot of times the members are using our systems. They don't even know they're using our systems. Like we're on FedNow, RTP, our international payments. We utilize tokens like Ripple. We utilize our own stable coin. We utilize Hedera mechanisms. Really a lot of times people don't even know that they're using our systems. They're just pushing buttons. I kind of describe it as, nobody cares when they push the Uber button, what's happening behind the scene, what database and what payment rail. They just want a car to show up and take it wherever they want to go. It's kind of the same thing in banking. Like, sure, there are the people like us who care that it's XRP and Hedera and all these other cool things, but the majority of people just want to push a button and get their money to their family. And so a lot of the times our technologies are just working behind the scenes. Like we can settle instantly into the EU and into Mexico in just a few seconds for fractions of the cost of what it used to be. And that's happening transparent, kind of opaquely with a member. They just push a button and say, I want to move $50. And they don't care if it's on a stable coin rail or on it. Like most people won't care, just like most people don't know how an ACH transaction works right now. Right. Nobody knows how a wire really works. It just works. They go in, they fill out some paperwork, and then it happens. But there's certainly a dance of things happening behind the scenes. And those are the types of things, those are the types of ecosystems that we build. We want to kind of remain behind the scenes for the everyday user, because I kind of joke all the time, but if the future of finance is having to log on to pancakes and put syrup on everything and go get your flapjacks and then put them into flapjack pools, nobody's going to do that shit, right? Certainly the early adopters will, but in the future, people are going to want to say, oh, get 2.5% staking interest, push the button. Boom, I push the button. And yeah, flapjacks and pancakes with maple syrup can be happening behind the scenes, but nobody gives a shit about that.
Right.
So sorry for cussing, but
that's a great
just
perspective. Yeah, that's an awesome perspective, man. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, we all know about wallets. We all know how to send. We all know how to send crypto. And you're right. I mean, the next generation is just going to want to hit a button. Hey, if I want to buy XRP, bam, I'm going to hit a button. And it's stored in, I guess, are the credit unions, are they going to self-custody for individuals, or how does that work?
No, we don't see a lot of banks and credit unions wanting to get into the custody game. We do see them wanting to get into the offering services game. And so, multi-party compute or hardware devices offered by third parties are the route that they're going. So right now, the credit unions that are deploying our stuff, we utilize MPC wallets. And so those are all, I won't go into what or how those are deployed, but they're MPC wallets, and the credit unions do not custody, but the credit unions do offer the services to the members. And then even some of the fees get distributed back to the members. We're doing some really cool stuff. We've already launched. Oh, this is cool. I can tell you this. We've already launched 4 private stable coins for 4 different financial institutions here in the United States. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they're using those both for internal liquidity moves, as well as for bank to bank. We have a loan participation platform that is cross chain that will allow a financial institution to bundle up a bunch of loans. And then what's really cool is we're talking to a couple institutions right now. Because again, remember, credit unions, their purpose is member. You said that you got all your loans, all your mortgages, all your
everyone through a credit
union. And most people, they don't even realize this. When you go into a car dealership, the vast majority of people are getting a credit union to finance their.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And so what the purpose of it is we've got several credit unions now this is kind of the pilots, not the 40 paying customers, but the 35 who are piloting with us, and they're paying for this, but they're not actively using it every day, right? We're doing some cool pilot stuff. One of the pilots is allowing the credit union members to do DeFi with the other members of the credit union, where they can buy loans and sell loans between each other, because that's what's happening now. It's just utilizing antiquated technology to facilitate it. We don't need to anymore. We can allow people to interact directly with other people and turn analog into digital DeFi.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's all working on, it's all layered on top of chains like XRP, Hedera. There's a couple other ones in there, but those are the two main ones.
I'm all giddy now, man. I'm all giddy. This really gets me excited. So how would a credit union or an individual get a hold of you guys? I'm going to put all your socials. I'm going to put everything in the description of the video that you're watching today. And, but what's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
Well, for individuals, I think the easiest way is to download the app. We have a fantastic customer service team, and they do a great job of making sure that everybody has what they need. So download the app in the App Store, whether you're on Google Play or Apple App Store, and that's probably the easiest way. We also have our Telegram chat, private Telegram chat for BankSocial token holders. Grab a couple tokens, join the Telegram chat. It's a great space. We've got some great people in there. And then for credit unions, our website and LinkedIn are probably the best ways to reach out. I mean, we get, just the other day, we had, I think, 5 or 6 reach out to us through our website. So it's really starting to pop off. But those are the best ways. We're starting to do those AMA sessions again. We're calling them the BankSocial sessions for B2B and B2C, because we believe the future is transparency, and we're going to live that, right? We're going to live being transparent, allowing people to understand what we're building, why we're building it, ask questions about it so that they can help us build it. Because I think we're in a unique position in the history of humanity to build together. You couldn't do this 25 years ago, 30 years ago, in the early days of the internet, not like you can today. But now we can literally have real-time conversations. We can tweak, we can adjust, we can edit, we can put things out into the market, get feedback on it, adapt. And even before we do that, we can share and get feedback from people on what will work, what won't work. And we're finding a tremendous amount of value, both for our credit unions and for our consumers, in that methodology. And so that's kind of how I would suggest people engaging with us. We're going to do a live session this week, another live session on Thursday. So that's kind of how we've transitioned into transparent, evolving together with the community transparently.
Absolutely. Is that going to be X Spaces? Are y'all going to do that on X?
We do them on X, but we simultaneously broadcast those to YouTube and a couple other channels. But the primary place is on X, and then on LinkedIn for our B2B, we'll do LinkedIn, and then we do that live as well. What's really cool is the format we're using is we've got a really great boardroom, like right here across from me, and we bring in several members of our team. We sit around the table and we talk. We're literally having a public board meeting. We're living and breathing what we're talking about, this cooperative financial model. And so let's live it and breathe it. Let's bring people into the boardroom and have discussions about what we're building, why we're building, get the feedback, open it up to questions, and then move forward together. It's a very powerful mechanism.
Fantastic. And I'm going to share this interview on all of my socials. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on X. Of course, it's going to premiere on YouTube. It's going to be on LinkedIn. So everywhere I get it out to the masses, and they start to pick it up. And I'm just blessed.
We'll share it as well. Let us know. We'll share it as well.
Oh, I will. Oh, I'll tag you guys. I'm going to tag you on that. You know me. I'll tag everybody. But man, I know it's time's just about up. But are there any closing comments or things that you guys want to mention that's coming up? Or I'm excited for you guys. I'm fixing to dig up down the webpage, download the app. I've already downloaded the wallet, and I saw XRP in there, baby. So Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really cool, man. I mean, I think when we announced XRP, our volume at our credit unions and on our own exchange jumped by like 25-30%.
Mm.
So
Nice.
we're really excited. We think the XRP community it's one of the most established. It's one of the more sophisticated. It's got a lot of really great people with really great use cases, and so we're extremely excited to be a part of the XRP army and everything that we announced. Last year we announced the DREC alliance with XRP being a part of that, and that's what we're using for a lot of our MPC components. So we're really excited about this. I mean, it's really fun.
Nice.
Thank you so much, James.
Hey, hats off to you. Justin?
Yeah, thanks. I'll end with like my part with just a little security like briefing, so to speak. So a couple things I tell people is obviously we all know not to give out your seed phrase, but you'd be surprised at how many people still get coerced into entering their seed phrase into a link that was provided to them by somebody that they think is from Coinbase or from another exchange. So don't enter your seed phrase into a link that somebody provides you. Another thing is don't click on links you're not sure, where they go to. If you're getting contacted and you think it's somebody legitimate and they're asking you to, act in speed and urgency, take a pause, take a break, ask for help, call somebody, call us at BankSocial. We're always here to help. And the biggest thing we're seeing is people on Discord and Telegram that when they sign up into different chats, they get hit up right away and they think they're speaking with somebody they're not. They think they're speaking to the developer of the token, and then they're being talked into, entering their cold storage wallet seed phrase into something or something, and they're losing all their funds. So just you got to be very careful out there, be very vigilant. And at BankSocial, we're here to help. We take calls all the time, even for people who aren't in our own ecosystem. We don't care. We'll help anyone. Thank you.
I appreciate you. And when he mentions seed phrases, whenever you set up your own self-custodial private wallet, you're going to write down a series of 12 or 24 words on a piece of paper. You're not going to take a picture of it. You're not going to upload it to the cloud. Yeah. You're going to write it.
Nobody will ever ask you for that. Nobody who cares about you will ever ask you for those seed phrases.
So, for instance, there's an email going around, Ledger provides hardware wallets. There's an email going around, oh no, your account may be compromised. Click here to validate your wallet. Do not do that. Keep those damn seed phrases locked up in your safe. Never touch them.
One other thing I'm going to say that I think is very important is when the hacks happen, a lot of people are throwing away their wallets, throwing away their seed phrases. The seed phrase is still critical to keep because that proves ownership. So do not get rid, even when you're compromised or something happens, you need to keep that seed phrase because that can be used later down the line to prove that you were one of the people that had access to that. Because I can guarantee you the scammer's not going to show up in court with the seed phrase to say that's his money. So keep that seed phrase. Never, ever give it out. Nobody ever needs that.
Thank you. And Anthony, what you got, brother?
With that, I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. When in doubt, reach out. And one of the reasons that we've, kind of gated our customer support through the app is you're not going to go download a BankSocial app, go into the Apple store. Go into the Apple or Google Play store, download the BankSocial app, and reach out to customer support. If any other customer support reaches out to you in any other avenue outside of that, it's not us, it's not John, it's not Justin, it's not me. So when in doubt, reach out to our customer support. As John mentioned, we have, the best customer support team you could have, who are happy to help, and will make sure that what you're looking at is legit. If you're ever questioning, I got this text message from Coinbase, I got this email from Ledger. I don't know if it was legit, but I saw someone take a picture of a physical letter they got from Ledger.
That was sent to me as well. Yep.
Yeah. Your people are getting physical mail of scams now. So if you're ever in doubt, if your spidey senses are ever tingling, just reach out to our customer support team, and we'll be happy to look at it and help you out.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I actually got a text message and an email from John today, and I knew it wasn't him, but I still screenshotted it and sent it, say, this isn't you, from a different number, correct? And he's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, all right, just confirming before I, deleted it and all that stuff. But yep.
Well,
It's
guys, I
prevalent out there.
appreciate the feedback. I preach this all the time. Like if you get an email, hit reply and you see where it came from. If it didn't come from the source, open up the app on your phone. Make sure that your account is still working. Make sure that everything's still good. But anyway, thanks, guys. John,
Real quick.
Go ahead.
James, I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. You hit me up, whatever it was Friday or late last week, for that couple that was scammed out of the $150,000-$200,000. I heard it from the 5 minutes we were on the phone with you, how much you care about people and how much you care about the community and how quick you were to respond to this and get me all the information that I needed and reach out to the couple, letting them know, assuring them that I was legitimate and I was who I say that I am. So I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing for the community and also for hosting us. You're an incredible man. I just want to thank you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Back at you. It means a lot because, only a few of us are talking about this. And as this space grows, we're going to have to continue to spread this news. And thank you guys for your time. I'm going to end it here. I see John took his camera with him. He had to get and I know you guys are busy. So I'm going to premiere this and where you're watching it right now, people. Check out the links below. Check out all the socials. And thanks again, guys. My name is James Rule, XRP, the Crypto Teacher. And don't forget, I told you so.